I don't know what their scouting is. Their scouting, whoever does the scouting there, is incredible. Because I've never seen so many guys who are just okay, decent runners turn into like legitimate stars.
Hello, and welcome to the Stride Report podcast. I am Ben Weissel, and joining me, as always, Garrett. How's it going, man?
Ben, you would think that after how many years have we been doing this? How many years? Like
5?
7?
7? Is it 7?
Is it 7? Well, I don't know. When did we start the podcast initially before the hiatus? Was that
So
20?
2019?
That was 28.
2018? Wow,
29?
7 years.
Maybe. So 6 years. Let's call it 6 years.
Jeez.
6 years. You'd think that we would have all the technical difficulties figured out now. But my computer today was just like, I don't want to recognize your mic. I was like, great. Sounds good. So shout out to you for being patient while I spent 30 minutes not solving the issue. But here we are.
Honestly, surprising that it wasn't me with my mic that is like the cord is hanging on by a thread that it's made it 5+ years, and I quite frankly don't know how it's made it. So shout out to my mic. No free advertising here, but if the creator of this mic wants to sponsor us, be more than happy to give you guys good reviews. You know who also gave us good reviews? Apple and Spotify, up one both. And on the Apple, we got Virginia Men on a Mission. We had someone say, wait to hear Garrett finally say something positive about Justin Wachtel and the Virginia Men. And I will defend you. You have said a lot of positive things about Justin. I don't know, not always about the Virginia Men, but I think you gave them their flowers very, very well last week.
They were deserving, and they were excellent. And the Virginia women as well, they were deserving, and they were excellent. But guess what? If the roasting of me is what's going to take to get a review, I'll take one for the team. I'll take it.
Right.
I'm okay with that. So thank you for leaving a rating and review, even if it was at my expense. I'm fine with that. Also, I think we got at least one new one on Spotify, I want to say. Mm-hmm. So Shout out there. And we've also, again, seen great traction on YouTube. A lot of that is because, of course, of Lauren Colley, and of course because Wyatt does a lot of our great podcast editing with the clips and whatnot. So, but Ben, another weekend of action is in the books. Before we do, I just want to announce that we are again set to stream the Lewis XC crossover, the biggest regular season D2 meet of the year, usually at least in terms of size. That's going to be happening on our YouTube page. I will not be going out there. I will not be commentating this year. We do have commentators, it appears, but we are set to go for that. But for this weekend, we're going to go over Loyola Lakefront Invite. We're going to go over Paul Short. And if we have time, we'll get to Louisville Classic. We'll get to Joe Piani, so on and so forth. So where do you want to start?
Let's start near my town of Chicago, and we'll go with the Louisville. There's too many old names out there. Loyola Lakefront Invite, where we saw, and let's start with the men's side, where we saw Wisconsin take home a fairly convincing win over the hometown Loyola Ramblers, who put together a very good performance, finishing second. And then in third place, we had Minnesota with 111 points. From a Wisconsin perspective, I think we can be pretty brief here. They are who we thought they were. They're a very good team. No one's gonna like overwhelm you with like, wow, this guy is just so much better than the rest of everybody else in this field. They just got a bunch of guys who are really good and are going to be top 100 finishers almost certainly at NCAAs, and a lot of those guys performed just about at that level. I don't really think there's anything else to say about Wisconsin unless you have any additional thoughts.
No, I don't. I don't even know if they were going all out. That's my question. Yeah. Were you guys going all out? And if they were, like, fine, like whatever. But I have nothing more to say about that. Like, it was a good run, good performance, but like, sounds about right.
Absolutely. Now, the more of the surprise was Loyola finishing second, beating teams like Minnesota, Louisville, Cal Poly, and North Carolina. North Carolina in sixth is probably the most underwhelming team in this field. But on the flip side with Loyola, I mean, this is a program, and I liked how it was put in the First Thoughts article, has developed individuals throughout the last couple of years where it's like, hey, you'll see a really good 5K runner kind of pop up and be competitive at the national level. You see maybe a middle distance runner kind of pop up and be very competitive, but you rarely see them as a team be competing at this high of a level. I mean, you had a really nice low stick in William Sinclair, who finished fourth in this race, and then it just no one blew up. They were very solid. They had their sixth runner was 42nd, 42 points, and their top five was just very well like spread out from 4 to 40 in this field. It's not like anything stands out in a major way where it's like, oh yeah, this guy was really, really good. But they were just rock solid in a field where there wasn't any other teams besides Wisconsin that looked great. Like at least in this field, they were able to rise up to second and beat Minnesota by 3 points.
And what if I told you they still got another guy who could be a low stick?
It's
They
pretty
didn't
exciting then.
run. They didn't run Jason Clayton. And Jason Clayton, who I could have sworn graduated, is not. He's back. And I was talking to someone who was boots on the ground there, and they were like, hey, "Yeah, Loyola had a great day." And oh, by the way, they didn't have Clayton. Clayton's a 13:49 guy for 5K, 7:57. He was 20th at Loyola Lakefront last year. He is almost certainly probably better than that at his best. That's a huge name. Like, you add this guy in there, Loyola's gone from now being like a, hey, they could make the national meet, to like, oh, they're gonna be a problem, like, for a lot of teams. Like, that's a very good run from Loyola. So yeah, if the William Sinclair is a perfect example of just guys that like Loyola takes in, and they're just like, hey, no one knows it yet, but you're going to be a star. And I don't know what their scouting is. Their scouting, whoever does the scouting there, is incredible. Because I've never seen so many guys who are just okay, decent runners turn into like legitimate stars. And like,
Mhm.
that's what you have. And I'm so impressed. I knew that they would be good. I figured that they'd be talented. I didn't think they would be second in this field good, even if it's on their home course.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see where we end up ranking them, because you look at the teams behind them and it's like, all right, none of these teams were seen as like these necessary top 25 teams except for North Carolina, which we'll get to in a second, and
Well,
for
and
Washington as well,
yeah,
who also obviously I don't think had everybody, but also did not run well. So it's going to be interesting to see where they lay out, because if they had beat like a North Carolina and Washington team who went 3-4, and it's like they look solid and they still beat them, then that means a lot more than beating them when the North Carolina and Washington are finishing 6-8, right?
right.
So I think you could probably put them easily in the top 20 after this performance, but I think you could also keep them more towards the 25 range depending on how aggressive you wanted to go. I'll be curious to see where the rankings come out after this.
Yeah, as we're recording this on Monday, the rankings will be out. The team rankings will be out in a few hours. We're almost done
I'm
editing
fascinated.
there.
I have not seen them, so I will
Yeah,
be
you have
I will be
not.
seeing them just like everybody else.
Yeah, you have not. And so yeah, I won't comment anything more there. But it's an interesting team. It's a really interesting team. And not only that, but like, it's a really hard team to rank,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
just for the reasons that you outlined, but because this field is so weird. It's
Yes.
such a weird field. Minnesota third. Does Minnesota get ranked? Because like, they didn't beat Wyoming, and but like, they just beat a few really good teams, but like, those teams weren't great at Loyola. And then if they lost to Wyoming, then what do we say about Boise State, who just beat Wyoming at Joe Piani? Like, you can see this
Hmm.
madness of like piecing together different teams, that it just makes it very difficult to like gauge where these teams should be ranked. But Minnesota, 3 points behind Loyola. They had a very compact five,
Yep.
going what in the scoring 14, 21, 22, 26, 28. I'm pretty sure that that's just straight up where they finished too.
Yep.
Um, Nolan Sutter, who was their top guy at Roy Griak, was their fifth man at this race. Now, look, I know Minnesota women don't have Allie Weimer, and maybe they're going to have a little bit more of a struggle this season. If Coach Hopkins can get this team to the national meet, and right now they might have earned a Colos point or two, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
If that
Yep.
happens, then like I don't. Man, you're talking about Coach of the Year kind of contention here.
Yeah, and I don't disagree because you look at this Minnesota lineup and it's like they're making it with these guys, like,
Yeah,
and not
yeah,
not to hate any of them, but it's like they weren't on our radar coming into this season at
at
all,
all.
and it's not like these guys have been like running like you have like one big low stick and that's like dragging everybody else. Someone taking a big leap. Everyone's just gotten incrementally better, and they've all done it at the same time, which we've seen this kind of lineup structure do really, really well if you can qualify to the national meet because you're not reliant on like one person having a fantastic day. If everybody just runs kind of as expected and packs up together, you can overperform a lot of teams who are reliant on one or two low sticks. And if those guys blow up, then a Minnesota team could certainly exceed expectations. One team though that is very reliant on their low sticks is the Louisville Cardinals, who did finish fourth. Good runs out of Kipruto and I always get this Kibuwa. Kibuwat.
Keep it what? Yeah, sure.
I'm terrible with that one. First and seventh there. Jeffrey Kirwa eighth. They just have nothing else. It's just they have absolutely no depth, which even in this type of field absolutely dooms them. Should we move on and talk about North Carolina, Washington?
Yeah, I mean, Louisville's kind of a just a story on its own. It's just like, hey, they've got a great top three. Question: Can Louisville, as currently constructed, qualify for the national meet?
I don't think so, just because of that's the region that they're in. I think that's going to be really tough.
The Southeast.
And
So you don't.
maybe it's not if North Carolina's bad. Like
Yeah. Although, does that actually hurt them or help them?
probably hurt them because they don't get the Colas point.
Right. Because if UNC doesn't get in, then they don't get the Colas point. Or if UNC is like really bad, then they don't get the push either.
Yeah.
Like they don't get the like an extra team to possibly push them in, which is still asking a lot. But I'm like 50-50. I think it's a coin flip right now whether or not they make the national meet. I'm gonna say probably not, just because history says no. But like I don't know. Also, by the way, real quick, right now Loyola and Minnesota, who wins Coach of the Year? Gavin Kennedy or Coach Hopkins? Uh, if these teams both make the national meet, does it just matter who finishes higher?
Yeah, I think it probably just matters who finishes. Although I would give a slight edge to Loyola just because this is not a program that has traditionally like had a lot of like
Yeah,
national qualifying teams, whereas it's a much smaller conference team. Minnesota obviously didn't have high expectations coming into the season, but again, it's a Big Ten program who's had success across the board in years past. Like this isn't a little plucky upstart team that's just like figuring out how to maximize their resources to make nationals the way that Loyola probably fits that bill a little bit more, which I'm more inclined to vote in that direction generally.
fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, moving on. Cal Poly fifth, North Carolina sixth. They both tie at 147 points. Cal Poly does well without Chris Caudillo. I think they've put themselves in the national qualifying hunt. I don't think that they're favored right now, but I think they can at least they have an argument, right? Really well balanced squad. You've got Spencer Pickren and Bryce Cooker in 16th and 19th respectively, and then guys going down from 31st place, 38th place, 43rd place, and again they don't have Caudillo. Really, really solid, strong, all around decent. But let's talk about the team that I think is really fascinating, North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. They ran a full lineup, or at least close to it. They had Colton Sands and Tomer Terragano look as good as you could possibly ask them to be. Second and third, respectfully, they were awesome. Great, great job. Then in 36th place is Tommy Latham, a freshman. Okay, he's a freshman, whatever. Jack Bowen in 45th place. He's a freshman. Okay, whatever. And then Chasen Hunt was 63rd, the D3 star transfer. And then one behind him was Joe Sapone in 64th. Patrick Anderson did not run. Will Coogan was a DNF, and Joe Barrett, their star freshman recruit, who I was personally very high on.
Mm-hmm.
He was back in 80s. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern factor for North Carolina?
It's pretty high because I mean there isn't like a panacea waiting back in Chapel Hill that you feel like this will solve all their problems, right? I mean maybe Patrick Anderson and running and Coogan finishing the race, like again they should look better, but this team, this goes from a team that could finish in the top half at nationals to I think is going to be struggling to make it. So I think my like panic level is at like an 8. It's pretty high. Because I again I think the paradigm for this team has shifted where we are looking at a team that's just going to be happy making the national meet. And that's crazy to say considering I thought one of the big question marks was Tarragano and if he could live up to the billing that I think you and I were both pretty high on him. We talked about him in the preview when we were previewing him this summer. He was awesome, and if he can be a low stick right next to Sands, like this team has much higher ceiling than maybe what we even imagined coming into it. But their floor has just completely fallen apart. All these talented guys, whether it's freshmen coming in or even experienced guys, just looked awful. Now it's one race, things can change very quickly. And at their best, North Carolina still, I think, is a very, very, very possibly a top 20 team. But I'm very concerned. This was a really, really bad result, and there's really no way to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, uh, this is this was a bad result. It was not like there's really no way you can look at this result and be like, well, like there's just not like. Do I think Hunt will be better in the future? Yes. Do I think Anderson makes an impact if he runs? Yes. Do I think Coogan makes a difference if he runs? Yes. But like, I just said three things there that like all have to go right.
Yeah.
And honestly, like it's been years and years and years of elite recruiting, getting like the best American high school stars you could possibly get. And I'm just like, well, when are we like these guys going to come through? This should lead to some decent depth, and it's not there. It's just not. Like, do I think North Carolina will be better in the future? Yeah, but like, I, I don't know how much better. So, yeah, I'm with you. This is a kind of a frustrating result, honestly, and so I'll be crossing my fingers and hoping they do well and rebound. But it wasn't it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything more to say on that.
No, no. I think we hit it. Why don't we
To
talk about
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
number 8? Obviously, in 7th place, we saw Toledo, who put together, I think, a solid run. I think should be fairly happy with that. Joad Martino, nice run in 5th place. And then in 12th place, they had Cibanello Kumalo, who had a good run as well. But Washington in 8th obviously did not have everyone. Ruben Reina led the line in 20th. There just wasn't a whole lot of good news from this lineup. Again, they'll have more in the future, but you were still banking on some production from this group, and they just really gave you nothing. I mean, even Reina in 20th, like that's not a great run for him.
No, it's not. Now they didn't have a handful of names. Like there's guys like Nathan Neal who did not run. There's guys like Josiah Tostenson who did not run, who is listed on the Tiefers roster. That's important to mention. Tyler Billiard, UK Myler, who came over, Martin Barco, who actually I think is going to be more of like a depth piece, maybe not him. The big ones are Tyrone Gorsey and Evan Jenkins. And the
Yep.
problem is that Gorsey is listed as a red shirt on Tiefers, which isn't
Mm,
great.
yeah.
Because if that's the actual case, then they need him after this kind of performance. Now, like at least with you, on like UNC, I can at least point to being like Gorsey and Jenkins and Neal
Yeah.
and Barco and like Tostenson and maybe Powell, and I can look at all these different names and be like, you know what? There's still room for improvement. They can definitely be
Mhm.
better. I thought Reina was actually pretty solid in 20th. Like, there's room. But if you don't have Gorsey, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, to your point, it's not the same panic meter as North Carolina, who runs most of their lineup and has two of their guys actually run really well and still not finish well. No one really had a great day for Washington, and they still have three or so guys that you could come in and really balance things out. I mean, if Reina's your third scorer or fourth scorer, this looks a lot different, right? Again, probably still some concern. Like the panic meter's probably at like 4. It's not like this is hunky dory,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
agree.
not. We're not at a full blown 5 alarm drill like alert that we're having with North Carolina.
Is Washington still ranked after this?
Oh boy.
They were 19th, I want to say.
Yeah, they were 19th. I was just looking that up. Um, I think so because the guys that we base that ranking around are just haven't run. Like I don't think that changes that much about what we thought about the team coming in. Now, would I have liked to seen a better result from at least one of these guys besides Reina? Yes, but a lot of these guys they weren't relying on anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, fair. Let's move on to the women's side where just also some really interesting results.
Yeah.
This is a weird meet. Um, Coming into the meet, I said NC State could win, but that it was unlikely. Well, why?
Hmm.
Well, they didn't have Grace Hartman. They didn't field Angelina Napoleon. They didn't field Fleur Templier. They didn't field Kaylee Armitage. Naturally, a Washington team that had initially in the entries fielded their entire top lineup seemed pretty fair that Washington could win and then NC State gets second. But hey, I thought, hey, maybe NC State could still pull it off. Well, NC State did pull it off, and they pulled it off convincingly, getting the
Hmm.
win. Hannah Gapes as good as we hoped in first place, winning it all. But Bethany Machalik getting second place, beating Riley Blade, beating a handful of individual stars to get second place. A huge performance for her. And then to wrap it up was Brooke Robert looking great in ninth place. Freshman Sadie Engelhard in 10th place. And then in 13th place, Kate Putman in 13th place there, wrapping up and giving NC State a score of 34 points. Second place, and we will not say who second place was yet, 59 points. Ben, I'm not even confident that this was an A team for NC State. It's possible that like Engelhardt's not even going to be in this lineup come the national meet, which is insane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's your biggest takeaway from NC State's performance?
Yeah, I they have a lot more depth, and this felt like after a year where I think I mentioned this a couple times throughout last year, where it was like this is the building block for 2025, right? Don't be looking at the team performance all that much for NC State, and they still put together a solid performance. But look at the individuals that are stepping up, and that's going to be the thing that you're really going to want to hold on to as your takeaway. And what it's the same kind of thing with this meet. Don't worry that much even about the team result, even though the team result was amazing. Look at the women who stepped up and are going to be part of this national qualifying team.
Mhm.
And that's what's really exciting is like, all right, we knew Hannah Gapes was great. Like again, we knew you throw her in with Napoleon and Hartman, great top three. But now you have Michalik, and she can be running near Gapes, I mean, she was 15 seconds back, finished second. If she can be running any like within that zip code of Gapes, then you have a possible another All American. You're talking about 4 possible All Americans, and then you have a host of options now as that fifth scorer, which is really really exciting. And I still don't know if they have the oomph and the firepower up front to go head to head with some of the top teams in the country. But if you're looking for like one of your safest bets for a podium uh finisher, I you do far worse than NC State as like a locked in. This is my best bet of the year, picking them to be on the top 4.
Yep. Yep. No, I don't disagree. I think they've. How about this? With this result, do you think they can now win the national title?
Yes, they can. They can.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think they can. I think they've gone from like outside contender to now like I would put them probably in the same tier as BYU and Oregon. I
Mhm.
really think I would. So,
And I think they
um,
have less volatility besides maybe BYU
yeah,
than anybody else in the country. Like I think they are as rock solid as any other team in the
Who has
country,
better
maybe
depth?
besides BYU.
Who has better depth, them or BYU?
I think probably still BYU just because they have it's a little more proven depth, but after this result, I'm not going to argue with you that much on NC State.
I might say NC State.
Yeah.
I might. Okay, moving on to second place, where this is really the one where I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Northwestern women, not only do they get second place, and not only are they 25 points behind NC State, a limited NC State team, but NC State nonetheless, they soundly defeated Gonzaga, Washington, and then the rest of the field: Boston College, Louisville, Florida State, Minnesota, etc. Ava Earl, fourth place. Holly Smith, fifth place. Ava Crinity? Sure, eighth place. And then Jackie Holman, 19th, and Sky Ellis in 25th, with, I think, another one close behind Maddie Whitman in 38th for a complete top six. I mean, we figured, like, oh, there'll be another just missed team. Maybe they'll crack our rankings at some point. This is far and away the best result that we've ever seen them produce while we've been covering the NCAA. First thoughts, reactions, anything?
Yeah. I'm like speechless because I really don't know what to do with this result. Again, it's similar to like the men's side where it's like, all right, you have this team that finished second and exceeded expectations, except for Northwestern exceeded them even more than Loyola. Like this is scoring 59 points, being this close to the winner and being that much further than everyone else is a much better result. But I don't know how to contextualize it all that much because Washington just was bad. And Gonzaga put together, I think Gonzaga we thought would
Gonzaga
be
was
like,
good.
yeah, good. They put together a solid performance, right? But they're like a top 20, like in that 20 to 25 probably range kind of team, right? I want to, will you, if I give like a ranking where I think they land in our rankings, will you give me a higher or lower if I guess where Northwestern landed?
Yeah, if you want to give me like 2 seconds here as I pull this up.
Okay.
Well, I want
Because
to bet because I'm. Go ahead.
the firepower up front is what I think is the most
Yeah, it's
startling thing, right?
stunning.
Three women in the top eight, and I mean Crinity in eighth was only 3 seconds from Smith in fifth, right? I mean they were 7 seconds between these top three women, and they went head to head with again some of the best in the country. Not saying these three are going to be all Americans, but it wouldn't be that surprising to see them at least close by that range. And if they have three women like that, and they look great. They're going to be in really, really good shape. So I'm going to go with, oh boy. I'm going to say they landed at 16 in our rankings.
A little higher.
A little higher? Okay. All right. So I'm a little optimistic compared to everybody else on
Yeah, I mean
Northwestern.
that. Yeah, it's still though. I mean, that was a crazy run. Shout out
Oh,
Joe Miller. I
so
mean,
good.
that's so. And here's the craziest part: they didn't have Sam Radishon, a 2022 All American.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did like they could be even better, especially if Deshaun's actually like really good. Like
Even if
that
she's
would
like
be crazy.
85% of herself
Yeah, if
at
she's
her peak, which is
85%,
great.
I mean that's still a great. I don't know if that would really raise their ceiling that much if she's like 85%. But
But it'd give him someone else in that like fourth, fifth score.
yeah, I mean, like, it would raise their floor a lot. It would make
Yeah.
them way more stable, which would be like it's just a kind of a crazy concept to think because I thought this team was going to be all depth and no firepower, and now it's just depth and firepower. Like it's just a complete team. So good for them. Okay, I'm like excited and giddy for them. I'm like, oh, this is so great. This is so exciting. Um, Another team that I was happy about was Gonzaga. Now,
Mhm.
Gonzaga largely aligned with our expectations, right? You have,
Yep.
what is it? Willow Collins, I'm sorry, Logan Hofsty in 17th place, Willow Collins in 20th place. And then they had a handful of women, Charlotte Dillon in 39th, Lexi Fogo in 45th. I think they can be a little bit better on that back end. I think Jaden Ripkema in
Mhm.
59th place. She can be better. Same thing with Anna Grabowski in 68th. I think the back end will be better. I'm not worried about that. But Jessica Freideland getting sixth place and giving this
Mhm.
team the low stick firepower that they so very clearly needed. That's just a huge result. Like I thought, Hofsty and Collins were pretty much right on par with how they were going to run, but Freideland having that kind of performance was massive. And I am pleasantly surprised. And I think it makes a significant difference in how this team's going to fare in larger fields moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great point. I think we were both pretty optimistic about this team, and I think the only thing that we learned from this meet was the Freideland experience, right? If she's going to be, even if she isn't quite this good moving forward, she still gives them a little bit more
Yeah.
like ceiling to play with at the very top, which I think was one of their biggest question marks, as you're pointing out. So again, I think Gonzaga felt well, in a field where everybody was kind of doing something crazy one way or the other, this felt a lot more familiar compared to the rest of the field. But let's go to another team where, again, a little bit of craziness. Washington in fourth. So they ran Maeve Styles, who was 12th, Mia Cochran 14th, Chloe Forster 15th. You had, but then you had like Samantha Tran was in 48th, and then the rest of this lineup just, I mean, really fell off a cliff. Now, again, not everybody, but what we saw was not the team that we thought would be a top 10 team in the country coming into preseason.
I mean, even here's the thing: they didn't run Julia David-Smith, who was initially in the entries. She did not run, right? Do I think Styles, Forster, and Cochran should have been in the top 10 of this race? Yeah, I
Yes.
do. Do I think it really matters that much? No,
No.
I don't. Here's the craziest part. If David Smith runs and she wins the entire thing, which is already a stretch to ask for, Washington still doesn't really get that close to Northwestern.
No.
Second place, like at all.
Not even close.
No, not even close at all. I think it's like I'd have to run the math maybe while you're doing some analysis, but the drop off to the fifth runner, which we've been saying is a major like point of emphasis. Hey, like we feel really good about the top four, but hey, maybe Tran comes back, maybe she's in top form. Well, she's not in top form, and now it's like, well, how do you even fix this moving forward? Like how do we go about that? So I don't have an answer for you right now. I will say Isabel Olsen and Jenica Schwartz were both recorded DNF results. Maybe Olsen helps, but I mean, at this point, this might just be what they have.
And the scary part is, I mean, yeah, you throw Julia David Smith in there. They have like six runners who at least conceivably could like score for you, because after this top five, it got ugly really fast. Like it went from 56th to 89th was their sixth runner. So like we're talking about an issue on who could be that fifth runner. They don't have even a lot of good options there. They have two possible options and then a cliff where everybody else, like, it just falls off completely. So it's not even they have a lot of good depth that could fill in that fifth spot, which I think is something we were kind of banking on. It's like, hey, you got a lot of options. At least one of them will hit in a good way. It's not really looking like that right now. I mean, again, this top three has to be better. Like, I mean, maybe they weren't going all out. They all finished within 2 seconds of each other. But if this team wants to get where we thought they could, these three and Julia Davis would have to be like very good. They can't just be okay.
Well, so it's 90 points if Julia David Smith wins the race, and then it pushes everyone back one spot. They scored 90 points, which again is not close to Northwestern. You're over 30 points back.
Yeah.
And like that would have been a borderline perfect. Like I don't know where you're making up the scoring.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
There's no
really
chance
hard.
that they beat Northwestern. Like it's just
No,
not as both of these teams are presently
which is an
constructed.
insane thing. If I had told you a month ago, hey,
Yeah.
there is no chance that Washington beats Northwestern at full strength, and Northwestern, you could argue, is not at full
Yeah.
strength. That's the craziest part. You would be like, Garrett, in no world am I even going to do the podcast with you because that's for take. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. In fifth place, we had Boston College, sixth place, Louisville, Florida State in seventh, and Minnesota in eighth. Any of these teams that you wanted to highlight real quick?
Boston College didn't run Cameron Menninger, nor did they run Elizabeth Barlow, which is important to note. And if they do, then like, hey, it's solid than maybe we initially thought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're more than a just missed team. So like I don't know if they're a top 25 team, but like good run, nice run. Like
Mhm.
they might be able to make it back to the national meet again. That Northeast
Yep.
region's not exactly like
No.
electric this season. So, Louisville good, Florida State, man, that depth is bad. And Minnesota, they're not going to have Weimer, but I think they're probably just saving her for next year as the rest of this team develops.
I think that's the right move, right?
Yeah,
This team does not look like it's one piece away, right? I mean, you throw her in here and they score like 50 points less, and they're maybe right around Washington, but like eh, you're barely beating Boston College even with Weimer. I don't think they're gonna waste a year of eligibility for her there. And yeah, Florida State, it is bleak after Blade and Shipperin.
not great. Not great. Also to note, Wisconsin, Toledo ninth, Providence 10th, Wisconsin 11th. I don't think Wisconsin was running all out, nor do I think they had a full lineup. I'm not ready to like fully evaluate that yet. And then, of course, North Carolina DNF, but they did not have Schoberg and they did not have Klangbell. And Sierra O'Shea ran well in 11th place. So, if anything, nothing to truly panic about them there. So, all right, do we
All
want to go
right.
to Paul Short?
Yeah, let's move on to Paul Short, and we'll start on the men's side where we saw Georgetown take home the win, scoring 102 points, beating Utah State, who had 123, and Texas A&M in third with 137. What was your big takeaway from Georgetown's victory at Paul Short?
Um, they're just better. They're just flat out better than I thought they would be. The firepower is a little more present. The
Hmm.
completeness at the 3-4. I just really I thought there was a chance that they were going to be like significantly worse than last year. Like have almost
Mm.
no shot of making the national meet. I was really concerned because I thought of the drop off there. But Verano Harriman, second place, really nice run. And McCallum Rowe, the transfer from LaSalle, former teammates with Finn, fifth place, huge result for him. And then Quinn Parrish. Where did Quinn Parrish come from? 12th place. He gets third, and then, back in 23rd place, Luke Johnston, and there's a pretty significant drop off after that. Still, like, that's a
Yep.
complete group. And I mean, let's, Harvard back in fourth place didn't run a full lineup, but they probably ran enough to get an A lineup, and that's a
Hmm.
Colas point. What happens if Utah State or Texas A&M somehow finds their way into the national meet? Well, that's another Colas point, right? Like, and like frankly, I don't even know if Georgetown's going to need the Colos scenario
Probably not.
because the Mid East, the Mid Atlantic region doesn't look great, even if Princeton is good. So I was pleasantly surprised by Georgetown. I don't know why I should be. This is pretty much on par for them, but yeah,
Yeah, and I mean they're a fifth score away from really being good, right? I mean their fifth score was 60th place, and I mean way back from Luke Johnson, who was in 23rd, right? If they can get someone to like split the difference there, and someone who can just
and I
finish
think they
40th,
will.
yeah, I would be kind of surprised if they don't, right? Again, they're not asking for someone to be great. They're just asking someone to be able to finish 150th at nationals, right? Like I think they'll be able to figure out someone for that spot. And then this team looks a lot more potent because yeah, you do have a bunch of guys up that are running really well to the point that they could be top 70, top 80 kind of runners in the country. And this team looks a lot more dynamic than what we probably previously thought they could be.
Utah State in second place. Nice run from them. Um, wasn't flashy, wasn't sexy, but it got the job done. Josh McKee in eighth place. You get Garrett Woodhouse in 17th place, and then just a handful of really solid support names throughout. You get Josh Armstrong in 29th. You get, oh gosh, what was the other name there? You get Jed McGarrigle,
Jed, yeah.
sure, in 32nd. And then Logan Garnica, who's an 833 steeplechaser, he gets 37th place, but I think he can be better. Same thing with Michael Moriano, a top steeplechaser. He was 42nd. So, like, my question for you, what's Utah State's percent chance of qualifying for the national meet?
Gosh. They're
You know,
they're
it,
like you said, it's not a sexy result ever, but this is what they do. They just show up and they're competent. They place exactly where they need to. Oh man. Give me
they are in the mountain region. I should remind
Yeah,
everyone
I
listening.
know, which is the hard part, right? If they were in another region, I feel a lot more confident in
But
them.
doesn't that almost make you feel better? Because Montana State did the same thing last year. And Air Force looks good this year. Like, what's the scenario that they get a push?
Yeah. All right. You've talked me up. I still am under. I'm still thinking that it's more likely that they don't make it, but I'll give them a 40% chance.
Okay, I want to be closer to maybe like 45-50. But I mean, I think this year, I think the nice thing about this year is that there's so many teams that could be right around like
Right.
their tier. And I'm talking like Air Force, Montana State, even though they were bad at Gans Creek.
Yeah. Yeah. Not
Wyoming.
super optimistic about Montana State anymore.
No, I'm not. I mean, that was bad. But that's not the. But like also, they've done this before where they've kind of been
Hmm.
like, surprise, we're good now. So that would be cool. But otherwise, yeah, that'll be interesting. Third place at Paul Short, Texas A&M. Kind of like this result for them. Thought this
Yeah.
was good. I'm not saying that they're beating Tulane. I'm not saying that they're going to beat Arkansas, but like, are right, right? Someone say right. I don't like. I still think Arkansas is not going to be touched by Texas A&M. Make no mistake. But like that, they had a guy go 4.10. They had what was it Cooper Cawthra and Jack Johnston go 4.10. It's
And
pretty
Jack
good.
Johnston, that's the surprise, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Cawthor's been on a tear over the last like 16 months. He's been really good. But Johnston being that second scorer instead of Victor Kipiego, who was 38th, and he obviously has a lot more upside, a steeplechase star who we know can put together a good performance on the grass. Granted, he hasn't done it for a while. We're still waiting for him to return to his freshman year form. But there is that upside there, and then you have two guys in Yusuf Azlouche and Carter Gordy, 39-46, competent, not great, but good, like good
Yeah,
solid
competent.
results. If Kipiego can get closer to Johnston, then this team becomes a lot more interesting. And again, not predicting them to be like an automatic qualifier out of the South Central, but like it wouldn't be the most stunning result to see them take one of those top two spots after this performance.
Well, let's also remember this. There's 32 teams now that qualify
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for the national championships. And they beat Harvard that probably
Mhm.
ran an 18. So they probably just got a Colas point.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to figure out like I think they're better than Texas.
I think so.
So like who other than like Arkansas and Tulane, who's better in the South Central?
No
I don't
one.
think there's a team. So I would I would be careful. I
And
would
that's a
be
that
careful.
and that's a good thing to point out because one of the tiebreakers in Colas is where you finished at in your region, right? Like the
Yeah.
fact that they will be a third place team if they more than likely a third place team with Colas points, that's going to be better than a fifth place team with the same amount of
But
Colas
that's
points.
also a pretty deep
Yeah,
tie-breaking
it's a
scenario.
decent tire. Yeah, I mean that's after all the same team results,
Common
records and
opponents.
stuff. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
fair.
whole
But
thing.
it's a nice tiebreaker to have, which they almost certainly will against pretty much everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's because the region sucks, but
Yeah.
like okay, after that Harvard 139 35.99 in the scoring. Sam Burgess wins the individual title over Baranu Harriman by a second. Teammate Tam Gavanis, the freshman, two-time Foot Locker champion. No, just one time. I forget. A really great high school cross country runner, like elite at the national stage. He's a national champion at Foot Locker. And then Charlie Ortman's ninth place. Significant drop off, but they did not have Shane Brosnan and they did not have Farron Kovacs either. So are we actually like in a weird way encouraged by
Oh,
this?
absolutely. I think you have to feel like I mean, I think Harvard's the best team in this field. Like I don't think that's arguable. I mean, we talked about, hey, Georgetown looked good, but I think Harvard clearly showed, hey, if you have these top three guys, you throw in Brosnan and Ferrix, who were good last year, and like I think Brosnan was in our just missed or honorable mention.
Yeah,
Um
one of the two.
and Kovac had a really good spring. Like maybe he's not going to be a great cross country runner, but he's probably going to be at least at the Ben Bowie level of 35th. I really like what we saw out of Harvard, and I think they have a lot more upside than I think we realized. Now, again, depth is still going to be an issue. Like they're probably going six deep, right? And if those six aren't good, then they're in trouble. But I like what we saw out of Harvard. I think one of the biggest takeaways I had from this weekend is I think Harvard's going to be a lot more of an issue than we thought, and I think they raised their stock as much as anybody did. Certainly anybody who finished fourth place this weekend.
Wow, that was beautiful. You you should have a podcast, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
beautiful.
can we get that clipped? I think that's one of my good
Wyatt, clip that
social
one.
media clips
Clip
from
that,
that.
Wyatt. Thank you, Wyatt. All right. Quick highlight notes there for the rest of this. D2 Wingate in fifth, Penn State sixth, Navy seventh, and Villanova, oof, in eighth place. Habler did struggle,
Yeah.
but even then, that wasn't pretty at all. Any thoughts about those three?
No, no,
Four, I
not
guess.
not that excited about anything. Yeah, I mean the Villanova. This is kind of what we thought. Obviously, we thought
I
Habler
don't
would
think it
go up
was. I
there.
thought it'd be this bad.
Yeah, that's fair. But this wasn't like there was this possibility, right? Which is why they're redshirting, or likely redshirting. Yeah. So yeah, not great. Syracuse in ninth, they didn't really run
That was a B
anybody.
team. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
B
So
team.
I
So,
had not really any concern
women's side. Now the Villanova men struggled, but the Villanova women
there.
were
Yeah.
awesome. They were awesome, awesome. They went 3-6-9. Margaret Carroll in third, Tilly O'Connor in sixth, and Nicole Van Ness in ninth place were a lethal top three. Rosemary Shea in 31st place. So they did have a drop off a bit to their fifth and final runner, Sophia McInnes, who was back in 61st, but like that didn't really matter. They still beat a Penn State squad by 5 points. Penn State packing together. They went, please hold as I look at this. They went 15, 17, 18, 28, and I think
7.
37. There we go, 37. Georgetown a little bit further back in third place. Here's the catch, though.
Mm-hmm.
Villanova did all of that without Sadie Sixted, which is insane.
Yep.
Now, the counter to Penn State is, well, we didn't have Florence Caron, which is
Yep.
like fair, but also Sixted cuts off way more points for Villanova
Mm-hmm.
than Caron does. Georgetown in third, they didn't have Almy Nuriker, and they didn't have Emma Zawatsky, the transfer from Colorado. They're probably better in the future, especially if they get Nuriker back, who's a 15:45 5K runner. But the point stands, Villanova looked incredible. Where in the rankings do you see them being? Like, I think we can agree this is a better performance than what Northwestern had, yeah? Benjamin.
Yeah, just because I think, yeah, I think it's we've seen it before for some of like Nicole Van Ness and where Sadie Sigstad stands in the like national stage compared to you don't really know that about anybody at Northwestern. Um, yeah, I agree. So Villanova, I mean, I is 12th in the rankings. That feels about right. Higher, lower, we'll see. But I to your point about Sigstead not not running and the difference between that and Karen not running for Penn State, we weren't that worried about Penn State's depth coming into this, and that showed exactly. They had 6 women in the top 45. Villanova, we were like, oh, they got Sigstead and they got Nicole Van Ness, and then they'll maybe piece it together. We were concerned about depth. Now depth still is a little bit of an issue, but when you have Margaret Carroll and Tilly O'Connor finishing in the top 6 at this race, a little less worried about depth when you have the firepower up front.
No notes. No notes.
And
Excellent.
12th up or down?
What's that?
Well,
Check your
12th
check
for
your
Villanova.
check your text. Check your text. Yeah.
Wow. All right. I love it.
Um and that might change, by the way. That might change.
They always do, right?
Yeah, they always do. Although I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
He won't even box himself in to not being
No, I
boxed
don't
in.
want to.
Like,
Why? Why don't I do that? I'm the boss. I get to make this. I get to do anything that fits the narrative, right?
oh my
That's a
gosh.
joke to anyone listening. That's a joke. I know someone's going to take that out of context and run. Anyways, Penn State, are you? And I should also take some responsibility for this. You were like, I don't love Penn State at 15, but I don't know. It's pretty accurate now, right?
Yeah. It feels. I mean, yeah, the women's team got that better than I would have. I will say that. I think
Yeah.
they hit it the nail on the head. Depth
I was
showed out,
also, yeah. I was also like,
and
I thought that was a little generous. And now I'm like, honestly, I was pretty spot on.
yeah, I mean, the one thing that I think you have a little bit of concern here is outside of Florence Karen, like
Where's the rest of
who
it?
else is finishing like in the top 80 at nationals? Like, but if you have 4 women that are in the top 120, it doesn't really matter that much, right?
Yeah.
So like I think that's maybe one thing like little nit you could pick at, but this is a good team. It's a deep team. You add their low stick in, they look that much more potent. I good job. Good job, women's team.
Um, Georgetown in third. Maybe a little ranked a little high for where we initially had them, but I mean, do we have thoughts? Do we care?
I mean, maybe. I think you look at how they finished. It's so like the result was so like shaped by the fifth place runner finishing like scoring 89 points. Right? You don't score 89 points, even if you just get Nurker or someone who finishes like 50th, they win this race. Like so, like I thought this was actually a fair result for them. Riggins again needs to be that low stick, but I like what we saw at Justema and Tompkinson. Like I I think this was a fine result for them. I don't think this really changed our should have changed our ranking of them at all.
Really?
No, I just they're gonna have someone better than that 89th place finish. Like
Because I guess, well, yeah, because let's say Nurker gets 15th. What
50th.
is that?
Yeah. Well, I
In
mean, if they get 50th, like they win this race.
Yeah,
Like
but Villanova and Penn State didn't have Sixten and they didn't have
right. Yes.
Caron,
Yes. I
right?
know. Yeah. I hear you on that. And not to say they're necessarily better than Villanova and Penn State without them. Without like with when they have their full lineups, right? But I think they're pretty
Like
close to both of these
my
teams.
problem is that like you can't drop the if like you we'd have to drop them behind Penn State because because Penn State beats
Yeah.
Georgetown,
Yeah.
right? And they're both missed two key names except Penn State's key name was the bigger miss, right? And then it's like, well, like
Well, maybe, maybe.
oh actually yeah. Who that's a good point. Who
I mean,
wins if they both run a full lineup?
I think Georgetown probably it's close, right? Like I think Georgetown very could still have won.
Georgetown cuts off
Um,
what, like 35 points, and I guess well, Penn State cuts off like 35 points, but then
yeah,
Georgetown already 30 points behind, so they need to make up 60. It would be very close. It would be
it would be. That's what
extremely.
I'm saying. It would be close. Now they're not touching Villanova, but like neither of these teams touching Villanova with six dead in there. But like
That's a good point. Yeah,
Georgetown's right there.
yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. All right. I don't like that you're right, but you are right. So,
Texas A&M
um,
fourth, Utah State fifth, UConn sixth. Any notes here?
what are the chances the Texas A&M women make the national meet? Like, are they better than Tulane?
Mm, I no, I don't have a strong opinion about Tulane, so
Well,
possibly.
here's the problem. Like, I think the South Central region on the women's side is like not good, but it's deep, and like it's equally deep. Like LSU
Yeah.
might,
Yeah, LSU's is
because
solid.
LSU beat Florida State pretty convincingly earlier this season with the FSU XC invite, right? SMU is okay. Texas might get by. They were an auto team last year. They were an auto team last year.
It's such an indictment on Texas that like we're talking about them this way on the men and women's side. It's just like they they can qualify because they are a team that is geographically located in Texas. Like that is
You said it, not me. I mean,
not that
they
is not
just
how
beat
Texas should be at
they
all.
beat a Noe-less Arkansas squad at Chili Pepper convincingly. Now, granted, Noe changes things dramatically, but yeah, actually very dramatically. But the point stands. Like, I don't know what you want from me. So
I'm not saying I don't want anything from you. I want them to be better. I
I'm
want them to
saying,
be
look,
better.
yeah, I don't know. Texas A&M could sneak in. Texas looked decent enough, and I think that's just the biggest takeaway from Chili Pepper. Okay, I'm going to call it on that.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't think we have enough time right now to go into the rest of those results. But Ben, nice job, even with the technical issues. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate all your help and patience. Lewis Hexy crossover. Go watch the stream on our YouTube page for free. Go check that out. Major D2 action happening this weekend. And of course, we have our in-depth rankings, which are coming on Monday, on Tuesday. This should already be out or close to out by the time this podcast releases. And that is all I've got for right now, Ben.
Awesome. Well, everybody can kind of play your own, like pick where this team should have been ranked when you're listening to this. If you don't look at the rankings first, see how you did compared to me. You never know. You might hit one right on the head if Garrett doesn't change it. But until next week, Garrett, I'll talk to you.
I'll talk to you.